All right, so let's jump here to let's talk about Joshua Ruiz rematch, right? We know what's happening. We don't know where yet. Eddie Hearn was talking today and saying that he's not 100% sure, but he's pretty sure that the fight is not going to happen in the United States.
Right.
I actually just wrote up something about this too right before we went on. And essentially I talked about how I felt that it would be there's some benefits for him to fight him again in the United States, but I totally understand him not going that route. Um, I remember after the fight, Joshua said, this was like his first interview or whatever. He said something in him wants to fight him in the United States again so that when he wins or if he wins the rematch, he will have beaten him in the same venue or the same site where he lost. I think that the boxing community might give him more respect for that or whatever. But I also understand the zone and Matchroom saying, you know, we're still the A side. He had a automatic rematch clause, and part of that is us having it on our own home turf, and we're not going to give that back.
So, I mean, it's really simple. When you give somebody an optional title shot, non-mandatory,
right?
These things are outlined. So the word rematch is not in there. It's just options. So you could take it how you want it. They have X amount of days, you know, could be 45 days to exercise that option.
Okay.
We call it a rematch because that's what it is. It's a rematch. So they're exercise. They probably got more than one option on Ruiz. Okay. And they're exercising their option. And in there, the promoter of the event is still Matchroom.
Right.
Who will dictate where the fight takes place. And the purse is usually predetermined too.
Yep.
If you should win, you will have a purse of XYZ attached to that first option.
Just that simple.
And that is why what Eddie Hearn's doing is just figuring out what he wants to do for his own purposes, as any promoter would. Where does he want it? He already knows it's going to be in DAZN in the United States. It'll be on Sky in the UK. And I heard them talk about Cardiff, okay, where Joshua was fought before. So it doesn't matter what Andy Ruiz says. I'm not fighting there. Well, okay. Well, you really doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, it was really, I'm listening to him say that, and I'm like,
it doesn't matter.
Dude,
It doesn't. And then Leonard Ellerby, Andy, don't go there. It's not up. It's just not up to them. So, so dump the titles, don't fight them, and Joshua will fight somebody else. I mean, listen, props to Ruiz.
Yeah.
I mean, he knocked him out, stopped him. He took his heart. I mean, it was great, right? Well, Joshua gets to exercise the option. He wants the rematch. His promoter, who gave you the opportunity, therefore you got the opportunity and you signed with those options. You'll fight where, when, and for how much. It's just, it's not his choice, and it's great. I love it when I hear fans talk, well, now he doesn't hold any cards.
No.
He has the belt, but he holds 0 cards.
He has 0 cards. It's the A side is it's not even debatable.
I see these contracts every day. And Ruiz is the champion, right? But Joshua still is the attraction. They'll put 90,000 people or 70,000 people, whatever
however many it holds,
capacity is in Cardiff. They're still going to be VADA tested. They're still going to be held to the same criteria that VADA holds people worldwide. Okay, it's not going to be an excuse or an issue. Just like Joshua made no excuses as to what could have been done while he was in New York to make him feel that way. Whatever, he lost. He got stopped.
Yep.
You know what happened? He got hit. Because in the third round, when Ruiz was on the canvas, everybody's probably thinking, okay, it's not going to be long now.
Right.
So, props to Ruiz. Excellent outcome. The rematch should be exciting. I'm one of those people that thinks he could do it again.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I
I mean,
really do. I'm just,
well,
you know,
it's not that I don't think he can. I do think he can. I think that the path to victory for Joshua is is working behind the jab and staying tall. I feel that he gave up his height and he allowed Ruiz's hand speed to be a bigger factor than it had to be, because he essentially reduced himself
mhm,
down to the level every time he took shots. To me, he has to keep that fight at distance, and
right.
anytime it gets in close, he has to wrap him up. He has
If
to wrap him up.
Joshua, if he could make adjustments,
Hmm.
then he might stop Ruiz.
Yeah, yeah.
If
I think if he
if
makes adjustments, he
right,
stops him 7 to 8 rounds.
but if Ruiz comes in there and is able to get those shots, I mean, the reason that I think that this was just such a weird thing is because Povetkin had the same type of success until he got caught,
Yeah,
and so maybe we should have looked at that a little closer.
yeah. And similar style guys,
Right.
smaller heavyweights with fast
Povetkin was
hands.
right. I mean, Ruiz faster, right?
Yeah,
And
faster. Yeah.
Ruiz might even have a better chin.
Mhm. Oh,
Um,
I think he does. I think he does,
you
because
know,
he got cracked
right.
hard.
And
And
younger, right? And
yeah,
younger.
yeah.
But he wasn't going to be deterred, right?
Hmm.
But Povetkin was hitting Joshua. I mean, there was a blueprint there.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that rematch.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it too. I think
But
I
it's
do
got to
think
happen
Joshua
before the
wins.
end of the year. They got to announce it soon. It's got to happen before the end of the year, and I think it's going to be just going to be a mega fight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge fight, um, everywhere, not just in the UK. I think it's going to
Mhm.
be a big fight, and but I have Joshua winning the rematch, fighting a smarter, possibly more boring style, but I think he wins the rematch. Let's see what we got in the chat. Loki New York says that Dillian White situation is really ugly. Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts to that.
Yeah.
Um, Ness Mendoza says Andy, in my opinion, will still dominate AJ. Coming from a KO was quite difficult. He's kind of leaning on that same thought process that I had with Maurice Hooker. I
Hmm.
think this one's a little bit different. Um, I'm One thing I'm a little bit concerned about is how ser- how is Andy Ruiz handling success? I wonder. I wonder. I
I
wonder how
mean,
I
I
wonder
don't
how
know.
he's handling it.
I think
I've
he's. I mean,
I've seen a lot. I've
I don't
seen a
know.
lot of heavyweight. I shouldn't say a lot of heavyweights, but I've seen heavyweights in the past pull these kinds of upsets, and in their rematch with the big name guy that they beat, show up not quite in the same mental and physical state that they were when they pulled the initial upset. So I want to see what that looks like
I think he's
for
a little
him.
bit. I think he only knows one way. He's been fighting for so long.
Hmm.
I think he only knows one way.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? This isn't just like he just like stepped into, like, he's from the amateurs to the pros to, I
Hmm.
mean, from the amateurs, the Olympics, the pros to getting this opportunity. Look, his only loss, honestly, was a controversial loss to Joe Parker in New
Hmm.
Zealand.
Right.
Okay. So, we got to give Ruiz the benefit of the doubt. And for what it's worth, even though it was a 45-year-old Holyfield, remember Evander told us,
Yeah.
he warned us.
Yeah.
It's like,
He
I would
said.
not fight him.
He said that guy. He said that guy can fight.
That I would not. He said, if that, because they sparred, and he
Yeah.
said, I wouldn't fight this guy.
Yeah.
You guys could actually watch that video.
Yes.
It's on the channel. And Evander was clear. This was before the fight, the week before the fight.
Yeah.
And even though he thought, like a lot of us, that Joshua was going to win, he's like, let me
Well,
tell you.
no, he didn't say that. Riddick said. Riddick told you that Joshua was going to win. Evander never picked Joshua. He
Interesting.
ne- he
I got to
never
go back
picked.
and look at my own video.
Yeah, he never picked Joshua. He never picked him. When you asked him that, he said this guy can fight. He
Yeah.
said he's fast. He said usually I can look at a guy's body and I can tell
Right.
what he can do.
Right.
He said, but
That was verbatim. That was very good.
yeah, I watched a lot.
That's good. Yeah,
So
but to Nes Mendoza's point, Ruiz might even come in just that much more confident with an amplified game plan, building off of the success he had
Hmm.
in the first fight, and Joshua might pull a Kovalev in the second Ward fight.
He
He
could,
might pull a Tyson in the second Holyfield fight. Might not have the answer. Might get
all
flustered.
except for the biting,
I
but
huh?
except for the biting,
Right. I'm just saying flustered,
right? No, I got, I got you.
flustered. I mean, there are guys that come in and they don't have the answer, and
See,
they get flustered.
the difference, I think you meant, and you made this reference a little bit earlier. You were saying that Kovalev kind of has the bully thing,
Hmm.
right? And I feel like Mike had that same type of thing. I
Hmm.
don't think that's who Joshua is.
I think he's passive aggressive in his bullying.
Hmm.
In a
Okay.
way, you know what I mean. I think it's just part of his aura, and I think some of that was broken. I
Hmm.
think some of that. You don't have to be a bad bully, but in the
Hmm.
boxing where you could be a bully,
Yeah, I can
you can
dig it.
work off of brute force,
I can.
and if someone stands up to that and you don't have an answer, it's really hard to figure that out on the fly.
I can dig it, but I can. Here's the thing: I've seen
Uh huh.
Joshua overcome adversity in the
Right.
ring before,
Against the
uh,
40-year-old Klitschko. Okay.
and he also got hurt by Dillian White in their first fight.
Right.
So I saw, and I mean, because he got hurt, he got dropped by
Hmm.
Klitschko. He was hurt.
Right. Klitschko didn't have enough to follow up. Ruiz does.
Yeah. Well,
And what
yeah.
I'm going to say is, if what if he gets buzzed again?
Well,
Does he lose control? Because he
I
didn't get
don't.
knocked out, in my opinion. And I don't want to say this way because I want to be more sensitive.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want to say like that he quit, but he quit.
Hmm.
I think, and look, I don't know. Maybe those rumors about him being knocked out in sparring, maybe it happened. Maybe he went into this fight not 100%. Maybe he was concussed. No
Hmm.
one's ever going to say that because there's so much liability, right?
Right.
But what if that's the truth? What
Hmm.
if he went in there concussed? What if he went in there? What if in sparring? Look, things happen in sparring, and no one should be ashamed of getting dropped or knocked out in sparring. That's where you try things. It's where you take chances. And you know what? You also spar a hell of a lot more rounds in preparation of a fight than you actually fight in the fight. So
Hmm.
the probability of on having, even Floyd talked about having bad days in sparring
Yeah.
where guys got the best of them because it happens.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's ever never seen the video before, you see a video of Greg Page dropping Mike Tyson
Well,
in spar.
and Oliver McCall.
Yeah.
So, it happens, right?
Hmm.
So what if he went in there and he wasn't 100%? And maybe 100, and he can't say that after the fight because there's so much at stake and so much liability that he can never come. And plus, if he said that, look, who knows who circulated that rumor,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But the point is that that's a question mark still that I want to know, was Joshua 100%?
Yeah, was he? I mean, no one will ever know. Perhaps we'll know this long after he's retired. Somebody will, do a documentary or something. But
Right. But remember,
he's.
those non-disclosures in
Hmm.
camp are they come with liquidated damages. And
Yeah,
if you guys don't know what liquidated damages are, it's a set number, non-negotiable, doesn't go to this, doesn't go to that, you pay.
yeah.
And those liquidated damages are enough that no one's going to speak because you go into camp in those situations understanding your role as a sparring partner,
Hmm.
understanding that there's no cameras, no cell phones, no relaying information, nothing. You're getting paid to do a job. Hence why we saw that insanity with McGregor and Malignaggi. And
Absolutely.
hence why we never saw the full video.
Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
probably exists,
No, I'm sure it does.
but they probably can't show it.
They can't. Yeah.
So,
So
they put those big liquidated damage numbers attached to it to just dissuade anybody from going there.
yeah. Yeah. You don't want this smoke. So
Right.
Low-key New York says that he said he's thinking already about Wilder Ruiz, which I think is
I
a
think Wilder knocks him
I
silly.
think it's a bad fight for Ruiz. I think
Yeah,
it's a
just the
bad fight.
size
The
and plus
size and the
Wilder,
power.
man. Wilder hits him, he's just gonna go.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't. I think AJ can really crack, but I think it's different with Wilder, and I think like you said, the size, just trying to get through that reach, is just going to be so. It's a problem. It's a problem, and and Wilder's a savage, man. Like, if Ruiz hurts Wilder, he's got to knock him out. He's got to
Listen,
knock him out.
Wilder was hurt against Ortiz,
Yeah.
who I think is a bigger puncher than
And
Ruiz.
I think he was buzzed a couple of times by Tyson Fury.
Right, and I think Brazil had hit him on the top of the head and
Hit
kind
him
of
on
buzzed
top
him
of the
for
head
like
and he
5
backed up.
seconds, backed
He
up.
backed
So
up. Yeah.
Deontay is tough, man.
He's
Deontay
tough,
is
man.
tough, and he just has that big punch. So I don't think I would respectfully disagree. If anyone were to think that Ruiz has a shot, I think, look, when we like to use the saying styles make fights,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a bad
That's a
stylistic
very
matchup for
bad style.
Ruiz.
Very bad.
So, but we'll see what happens,
We'll see
right?
what happens, but it's very bad. And I was looking at them sitting side by side for the Pacquiao Thurman fight,
Right, right,
and they started talking about the prospects of them fighting.
right,
And Wilder's looking at him like,
right.
this wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, Wilder thinks that about anybody.
yeah, but this was even more like.
Right.
Now, I think Wilder knows that. I think he believes that he'll beat Tyson Fury in a rematch, but I think he knows that that guy was a real problem, and more of a real problem than anybody he's ever fought.
Yeah, and if you see Fury fight in person,
Mm-hmm.
the reason he's a real problem is because he can literally be out of your punching range and punch you.
Yeah,
He doesn't even, it's weird. It's
yeah,
really weird. He throws these weird, it's different on television, but in person, you get a better idea of the fact that he throws punches without having to worry about getting hit.
yeah.
So
And then he has fantastic reflexes.
right. So it's not a matter of him of whether or not he can hit you. It's a matter of if he can get the punches through the way he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
But Wilder was the shorter man when
Yeah,
they fought, which Wilder's never been in a
except for
fight.
Brazil, and he was only there for like 60 seconds.
Right. And Fury, like you said, I know we're kind of digressing here. I know but we'll get to that when that resurfaces, we'll be able to break that down again.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait. Actually, I hope it happens. I'm really rooting for Wilder to beat Ortiz just so nothing curtails that rematch.
Right.
So, yeah, because low-key New York does say who's going to win the rematch between Wilder or Ortiz. I definitely think Wilder wins. Rarely do you see the older man win a rematch.
Right.
It's just rare. Rarely do you see that happen. So usually the older man,
unless your name's not a rematch. I was gonna say unless your name's George Foreman, but that wasn't a rematch.
yeah. The rematch, usually the older guy usually does worse than he did in the first fight.
Right.
So I say that to say Wilder probably knocks him out earlier.